rusty wheels and knew I'd take her home. I brought her to my farm in an Amish neighborhood where simple living's valued. She'd be loved and understood. I put her on a treadle stand and coaxed her wheel to turn. I felt her joy and easing with my study and concern. I cleaned her and I oiled her, showed her off to all my friends, repaired the hurts of years, and let her sew again.
Hello and welcome back. So we're going to start out this video. This is going to be the painting of my machine, and I wanted to show you she is stripped down. When I pull her out of my e-tank, I'll explain that in a second. But when I pull her out, most of the paint has flaked off, but there's spots like here and here. There was a little there, a little under here, where it was still, rusty crusty. And on the bottom, you can see there's still some paint there. I'm not worrying about this on the bottom. It is on there super hard. It's not going to come and flaking off. Basically, I go over the paint that's still on, with this. And on the exposed upper part, I keep going until there is absolutely no paint left. On the bottom, I'm not going to worry. Places that I can't get that big wire wheel into, I come back in here with a Dremel, and do some little fine cleaning. On her badge, the little brass pins were still kind of stuck in there, so I ended up using my grinder wheel to take off the brass tips and then tapping them the rest of the way through. So that's just a different shade of metal, but there's not actually a texture difference there. So yeah, she's going to be great. I have something else in my paint booth right now that I need to take care of. So once I do that and I get that room cleaned out, then I can move her in and start painting her. But I wanted to show you over here, this is my extra work table. It has these holes in it, and it is so handy just to stick the back of that main shaft in there, and it'll hold her really steady so I can push down really hard here and everything when I'm trying to get that extra paint off. So there she is. Next step is going to be primer. Okay, so at this point I have everything masked off, and I wanted to show you while everything was white. Remember, there are a boatload of tiny little screws. Down here it's already dried, so it's clear. It's still drying there. So I've filled in very carefully all the holes with a latex on this little thing. And if you're using this and you have bare metal, you have to be very, very careful, because if that stuff gets on the bare metal, the paint won't stick and it dries clear. So you need to make sure it's in the hole, but only in the hole, not around any of the edges. Okay, so here is the wheel. Over here I have the machine tipped up because I want to paint the primer and everything on the bottom first and on this area of the neck while she is upright. And then after that is dry, the next coat, I will tip her down onto my little rotating table here and get the rest of it. Okay? And the same over here. I've got the latex masking, drying on those threads. Anything that was threaded, I've tried to protect, And I did get all of that nasty out of there, so this is going to get painted here. That is the bobbin winder, Pop that back in there. Anyhow, what I will do is, I need to just let this stuff dry overnight, honestly. I was going to try to rush it and paint it tonight, but really, I need to make sure that that stuff is dried completely. Just before I go to paint, I'm going to, especially on the machine itself, wipe it down with the microfiber cloth again, just to make sure any dust that might have wanted to drop on it overnight has not had the chance. So let me show you the paint we're going to be using. First is a filler primer. This is an iron machine, lots of nooks and crannies, so that will work great. And then we are going to go over it with aqua. It's a really, really pretty paint. And then over the aqua, we're going to be doing my favorite, pearl mist. So it's going to end up looking like a light pearl version of aqua when it's all done. So it's probably going to be at least one coat of this. Let it dry for about 10 minutes, and then wipe it down with the microfiber cloth, because it's dry to the touch and the microfiber cloth will just smooth it out really nicely. 1 or 2 coats of that, and then at least 1 coat of this. So let's wait till tomorrow morning, and then we'll get painting. Hello, welcome to the next day. So this is what she's looking like right now. What this is a good healthy coat of filler primer that is then smoothed down. And after that, 2 coats of that aqua, that Rust-Oleum aqua, and then 1, and in some places 2 coats of pearl mist. So here is the machine, and I think she's going to be really pretty. I'm going to leave her in here for a few days before I move her over into the drying area. I'm going to give this paint probably at least 5 days before I start messing around with decals, because I have so many layers of paint. I want to make sure it is really, really nice and set. But I'm not sure if my camera's picking it up, but it is a very beautiful shade. The lighting gets a little weird on here, I know, but yeah, she's really pretty. Okay, it's been probably at least an hour or so since I put my final pearl coat on her. And I wanted to show you what I have done is come back in all of the exposed areas. I have pulled my little silicone plugs out. And I want to do this now before my paint is rock hard. Because, especially if you're using a lot of coats of paint, like I do, sometimes it could lead to a disaster if you wait until everything is cured and then you pull off your masking. You know, it can chip big time. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that is the step I have done, and now I'm going to leave her alone to rest. Hello everybody, hello. It has been a few days, and I think that her paint is dry enough that I can get started with her decal program. And as you can see, we are going to be focusing on hibiscus flowers and hummingbirds, because I think that that sounds lovely. You know, and that's what counts. So what I'm going to do is just show you how I'm going to place, you know, the first few. You don't need to watch me, you know, put decals on everything, but it's pretty much the same process. I have a little container of slightly soapy water. It's got just a couple drops of dish soap in there. And these are decals that I have printed on a clear water slide decal paper. And I have 3 different hummingbirds. I couldn't decide on one, so I got 3 different ones. This is the tiniest one, which will probably go in a smaller place. Very colorful, and then like a ruby-throated type. And so I'm thinking that I'm going to do a ruby-throated with flowers here on the base, and then just work myself around and have fun with it. So I'm going to be, you know, making my focal point here, this little guy, and some flowers. So I've just gotten it wet, and I'm going to place it approximately where I want it to go. I think I'm going to have this leaf kind of coming up the side there. I kind of like that idea. And I want it to kind of get used to its new position here for a minute. And I actually am going to move the entire thing a little bit higher than where I ultimately want it to be, so that when I get started sliding it, it can go to its final position. And it has been wet long enough that I can pull it down, hold the decal in place, and move the paper out. Okay. And I like that. I like the little leaf kind of curling up the side. I think that's really cool. I'm going to go get a clean little microfiber. Okay, a new clean one, just to tap, get all of that excess water out, and then I can proceed and put the hummingbird on. And I'm just going to be putting flowers in a random, you know, position as flowers are, you know. They should have some kind of an abstract look to them, but I want it to look like this little hummingbird is coming for that flower, very excited about her breakfast. Gonna get started getting her put on. And after this, it's just gonna kind of take on a life of its own as I put the rest of the little decals on. I wanted to show you my thought right now is I'm kind of strategizing it around the hummingbird. So I got this guy placed, that guy placed. This guy here, he's going to be going after this flower, which is going to kind of be wrapping around to the bottom here. Okay. I have yet to throw a bunch of stuff over on the sides. I'm thinking actually of leaving that a little bit blank, maybe putting some more flowers here, put the bulk of it there. But since this is not a motorized machine, I do want to save one or two so I have something to put in the back. But I just want to give you the update of where we're going. So I don't want a hummingbird to be left hungry, so I'm trying to make sure that everyone is aiming at a flower. Okay, so I think that this is what I'm going to leave her as. Not overly complicated, but I like her. I like her a lot. So I just put the word singer because, you know, she's an obscure enough model that I feel like that has to be on there because it could get confused. And not too much on the very, very back there, but over on this side I do have some more lighter colored flowers that kind of, you know, wrap up and around there. I was toying with the idea of putting the word singer on the back also, but I think I'm going to leave that blank. Okay, so obviously there's a lot more decals on here now. I decided last night that I didn't like that minimalistic look, so came back in this morning and I like this a whole lot better. So I hope that you do too, you know. It is very lush now, lots of hibiscus, lots of hummingbirds. On a very light clear blue sky. That is the front plate. I put a flower on the front plate. So yeah, I think she's going to be beautiful. So I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then I will be putting my clear coat on her. Okay, it's been a few more days, and I just got 2 coats of clear coat on her. And I wanted to show you what she is looking like. I just taped over that entire plate area because it doesn't need it, and it would be nice just to keep that kind of clean. So up here on the top, you can see the gleam of the clear coat. It's going to work really hard to protect these decals. And I think she's turning out really nice. So over here, what I have is her little front plate again. Clear coated, the 3 parts of her wheel over there, and here is her little bobbin winder. On the wheel, I uncovered the outer edge because I did want a little clear coat on there because it was a bit rusty before. So I'm thinking with the clear coat on there, it'll be a little bit protected. So anyhow, that's going to be it for her painting and decorating video. I think she's lovely. Hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time.